Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this Candidates Forum. Appreciate everybody coming out. Hope you're safe driving here in the fog, and I know we're missing some exciting basketball games tonight, but small price to pay for democracy. So thanks for coming out tonight. We have the candidates for Dodge County Board, Beaver Dam School Board, Beaver Dam Mayor, and Beaver Dam City Council Aldermanic Districts 12 and 8. And on behalf of the Beaver Dam Chamber and Visitor Center, I want to thank everybody for taking part tonight, to our audience for attending and viewing at home. I want to give a special thank you to Good Karma Brands for live streaming this, and I'm going to turn things over to Tracy for more. But once again, thank you everyone for coming tonight.
I want to ditto that. Being a public service or running for office is a thankless job sometimes, and so I do give a lot of credit to all of you for being here tonight, and thank you. Have to call out to my timekeeper here, Craig Caston, who always keeps things in order. Thank you. Terry Bell, our wonderful moderator, and our media representatives, Kevin Haugen from Good Karma Brands, and also questions we have from Terry Peterson from the Daily Citizen. So tonight's forum has 5 segments. First, candidates will introduce themselves. Then second, media will ask questions of the candidates. Third, candidates ask questions of each other. And fourth, the public will be able to ask questions. And lastly, we will conclude with summary statements from our candidates. It goes without saying, but we ask that the audience please refrain from applauding or vocally demonstrating support or non-support of a candidate. Otherwise, I'm going to have to get up and ask you to leave. So let's just not do it. And with that, I turn it back to you, Terry.
Okay, very good. First, we'll start with candidate introductions. I believe we'll start on the north end of the table with Joe Bonnet and work our way down south.
Thank you. I'm Joe Bonnet. I've been a council member for 4 years. I'm currently the chairperson of the Council Operations Committee. From a background point of view, I grew up in Omro, Wisconsin on a farm. I have a master's degree in hospital administration from the University of Iowa, and I was a hospital administrator for about 40 years. And now I'm retired. And so looking forward to chatting.
Thank you. Julie Wendt.
My name is Julie Wendt. I've been living in Beaver Dam for 6 years now. I'm from a small farm town in central Wisconsin. I currently work for the post office and plan on helping out my community and looking out for the homeowners.
Thank you very much, Julie. We'll move on to Aldermanic District number 12, and Paul Tollner.
Good evening. My name is Paul Tollner. I am a lifelong area resident, local property owner, graduated from the Beaver Dam School District with further education in criminal justice. I'm a taxpayer that has invested heavily in Beaver Dam and Dodge County. Local business owner that employs about 40 staff members. I've worked in the human services field, working with families that need support for approximately 34 years. And I'm looking forward to a conversation this evening and advocating for improved transparency from our city government, becoming better stewards of our taxpayer dollars, and really just improving communications overall with Beaver Dam residents and surrounding communities.
Very good. And now Zach Zopp.
Good evening. My thanks to the moderators for hosting tonight's debate, and thank you to those in attendance tonight. I'm Zach Zopp. I've lived in District 12 at 208 Oneida Street for 11 years with my wife Mandy, and we're the proud parents of 2 children in Washington Elementary. You know, I first became interested in running for an alder over concerns that my then alder didn't actually reside in District 12. After I became an alder, I made it my priority to connect with residents of District 12 and understand what they need, whether they want to petition the city to change an ordinance or we're looking for advice on dealing with the problem of the day. I've been there to support District 12. The city is also growing, and my goal is to foster that growth so that we can restore our city's infrastructure without overburdening residential taxpayers or exceeding our debt capacity. The future of Beaver Dam is truly bright. Thank you.
And now the candidates for Beaver Dam Mayor, starting with Bobby Mark.
Good evening. My name is Bobby Mark. I was first elected mayor in 2024. I ran then, as I do now, because I want to continue the forward momentum that our city has experienced. I want to see continued development of our vibrant downtown, which has welcomed over 10 new businesses since I took office. I want to continue to grow our housing options. Since I took office, we have seen the completion of the Stony Ridge and Rivers Row homes, and we look forward to the completion of 2 other projects, all while working to bring additional housing developments in the near future. I want to continue the investments needed in our city's infrastructure. Later this year, we will celebrate our renovated library, an updated band shell, and new walking paths in Swan City Park. We've also started the process of building 2 much-needed fire stations. Finally, I want to promote additional economic development, all while being responsible with city budgets and existing assets. That's why I'm running, and that's why you should vote for me.
Thank you. And next we'll hear from Al Polchinski.
Hi, I'm Al Polchinski. I'm a lifelong resident of Beaver Dam, 74 years. I've seen this town grow from 7,000 up to 16,000. I've been an educator in the past with the Wisconsin Trappers Association, Trapper Education Program, 20-some years with that, approximately 10 years with the Wisconsin Hunter Safety Program. I've dealt with people through there. I was a district director for the Wisconsin Trappers Association for 5 years. And I'm also part of the 25% of the population in Beaver Dam that's on fixed income and are starting to have a hard time because of high taxes. And I'd like to see that reduced by several means. Thank you.
And now we'll hear from the candidates for Beaver Dam Unified School District Board of Education, and we'll begin with Maria Mason.
First and foremost, I want to thank the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for this opportunity to be here in front of you. My name is Maria Mason. It is a great honor, and I represent the blue-collar worker, and I have a privilege to represent the Latin American community. I've been part of the Beaver Dam School Board for 4 years and counting. I have had 2 daughters attend the Beaver Dam School District, and currently my son. During the time as a school board member, I have come to understand parents, teachers, and the community as a whole. We all have different backgrounds, different beliefs, yet our children is what brings us all together.
Thank you. And now Lisa Panzer.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lisa Panzer, and I'm a current board member on the Beaver Dam Unified School District. I've had the pleasure of serving for the past 18 years to represent the students in our community. 19 years ago, my husband and I chose Beaver Dam as our home and raised our children who attended the Beaver Dam Unified School District. I personally attended the schools in West Bend, then went to Marquette University and have spent my professional career in engineering. It is my pleasure to represent the students in our district and to be able to provide fiscal responsibility to our community in the management of our school district as a whole. And I look forward to being able to do that in the future.
Thank you. And now Emily Shire.
Hi, thank you for attending this evening. I'm Emily Shire. I am a resident of Beaver Dam and of Dodge County for the last 20 plus years. My husband and I also chose this community to settle in, and for a while we were living in Fox Lake and open enrolled our children to the Beaver Dam district after trying some different types of education. We have raised 5 of our own children and several foster children who we've been had placed in our care. I have 3 boys that have graduated from the 4 boys have graduated from the Beaver Dam Middle School, and 1 child who's in elementary school at Prairie View. And I work full-time as the executive director of PAVE, which is a resource for survivors of domestic and sexual violence in Dodge County. I am running for school board for the first time. I feel I have a lot of relevance and qualifications to bring something new to the school board in Beaver Dam. Thank you.
And next we'll hear from Joanne Tyjeski.
Hi, my name is Joanne Tyjeski. I am a lifelong resident of Beaver Dam. I grew up on a farm south of Beaver Dam. I graduated here. My 4 kids have graduated from here, and I'm getting ready to welcome my newest grandkids as preschoolers in the Beaver Dam Unified School District, and they'll in fact be the 4th generation to attend school here. I have a passion for school board. I've served as long as Lisa. We were elected together 18 years ago. Over these years, I've been president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, sat on a number of committees, and I'm really happy to serve any way that they need a board member to serve in. One of the things I'm most passionate about is school in Beaver Dam. I love this community. I think we're doing a fantastic job for our kids. There's always room for improvement, but I'm very proud of the work that we've done over these last 18 years, and there's more to do. So I hope you'll consider re-electing me. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Next we'll hear from Steve Rashevsky.
Hi, I'm Steve Rajewski. I happen to be running for 2 seats, one on the county board and one on the school board. So for the school board, I just have all this extra energy that I didn't know what to do with, so I'm trying to get involved wherever I can. I've lived in Dodge County for over 25 years. I've worked in the cheese industry most of my life, and dairy industry. I spent a couple of years teaching and doing research at UW-Madison. I still teach down at UW-Madison in a short course program. I've worked on big building projects. When Babcock Hall was being renovated, I was a part of helping out with that. And so I bring a lot of industry experience, supervision. I graduated from UW-Oshkosh with a bachelor's degree. I was on the honor roll and I got a degree in supervision from Southwest Tech after I graduated from UW-Oshkosh, so here I am.
Okay. And now the candidates for county board. Steve, I don't know if you want to add anything more to add to that?
If I get another 30 seconds, that would be great. If you want to go first, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, I ran for county board a couple years ago, and I've run for school board before, and so I've just been trying to be really involved. I have 2 daughters, and they both went through Wilson and through the middle school and through the high school, graduated and are out working in the real world today. And I'm a taxpayer now. I'm just your regular old dad, and looking ahead to retirement and looking ahead at, where's the city going? Where's our county going? What are we doing to our taxpayers? How can we be more frugal? How can we look at some of these projects that we want to do and balance that out with the needs of the people? And I care about what's going on, so I just trying to do my job as a citizen and as a parent and as a, just somebody that cares about my neighbors.
Thank you, Steve. And now we'll hear from Kevin Burnett.
Hi, I'm Kevin Burnett. I have 8 years of service on the county board and 11 years on the Beaver Dam City Council. I have been proud to dedicate my time and experience to strengthening our community. I currently serve on the County IT Committee as well as the Lands Resources and Parks Committee, where I work to ensure responsible growth and thoughtful stewardship of our local assets. Beyond public service, I am deeply committed to giving back through volunteer work with our area school districts and the Meals on Wheels program. I am recently retired engineer whose careers include working as a mechanic on the NASCAR Cup Series and ASA National Touring Series. My wife works in the brain injury unit at Clearview, and together we are proud parents of a daughter who lives in Beaver Dam with her husband and our 2 beautiful granddaughters. In our free time, we enjoy traveling abroad, exploring new cultures, and taking mini vacations on our motorcycles. I've been to a lot of communities and see how things are, and just hope that we can get everything in Dodge County that we want, like what I see across the country.
Thank you very much to all the candidates. We'll begin our questions now, which will be posed by my colleague at Good Karma Brands, Kevin Haugen. And I want to acknowledge that these questions were formulated with the help of Terry Peterson from the Daily Citizen. So we thank Terry for her help with this. And Kevin, I'll let you ask the first question.
Thank you, Terry. The first question will be for the candidates for mayor. We'll start with Al Paczynski and then go to Roberta Mark for the responses. The first question is, will Beaver Dam be better off in 10 years because of the data centers or not?
No, it won't be better off. 10 years from now, we don't even know if we'll be getting any property taxes from them. Lifespan on those, and when they have to replace the equipment in them, is about 10 years, and history shows that about 20 years they're all done. I don't know what's gonna happen. I haven't seen the agreement that was heavily redacted. I wanna take a look at that, see what was all reached. It seems to me we came to a contract on the providing 300,000 gallons of water to them. That figure's changed completely. The number of people they were gonna employ has changed completely. But good thing about that is they started out with up to 24, now they're talking 100 people working there. So when it comes time, we'll see. I'll have to get a copy of the unredacted agreement that the city had. Thank you.
All right, Roberta?
Okay, first of all, I want to say that the number of employees did not change from the original developers agreement to the current situation. However, the water numbers were reduced dramatically, and that was because of pressure by city representatives who were hoping to get them to use less water. And they complied, and they used a more modern technology to reduce their water usage. So that's why what's in the developers agreement is different than what Meta has later agreed to. The one thing I really want to say is that the general budget for the city of Beaver Dam in 2026 was $24 million. When Meta is completed, they will be paying property taxes of $10 million. That's 40% of our current budget. That is why cities around the state are contacting Beaver Dam and asking us how they can get a data center. Because of the way data centers are appraised and taxed, they pay a much higher level of taxation than residential businesses or other community members.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the candidates for Common Council. The questions will be the same, but I'll repeat them as we move, and we'll start with Zach Zopp and work our way down to my left, your right. Again, the first question is, will Beaver Dam be better off in 10 years because of the data centers or not?
Yes, just flat out, yes. I am so excited for our future. Mayor Mark mentioned the tax revenue that's coming in. I will also say that the city is near its debt capacity. Al Paczynski mentioned that we're having issues with debt. You see the pie chart that came in your tax bill. A lot of that goes to, I think it's like a quarter of our tax collection goes to debt service. Well, when that extra tax revenue comes in, we will be in a much more stable and bright position to reduce our debt. I can't speak for where we're gonna be in 10 years and who's gonna represent you, but lower your taxes. The expectation is we will lower your taxes. We will be able to reduce our debt, if not just stop borrowing, and self-fund projects. Meta and other companies like them also invest in schools. I know we have Mark DiStefano here, and I've heard that Wayland Academy is also partnering to get investment in our schools. There's many things to look forward to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Well, let's throw the dice. I don't think we know. I personally do not believe Beaver Dam will be better off in 10 years from now because of the data center. I believe the cost of these monsters will be and is being passed on to the local taxpayers. Environmentally, we don't know. Health and safety, we don't know. There are a lot of people that live around that development. Their water's on the well. I mean, sorry, their water's well water. We're already hearing that some of those levels are unsafe. The projected jobs, most of those jobs are going to be remote. They're probably not going to buy residences in our community. Truth be told, there's a lot of false information on what these documents are that the city and/or Meta, whoever's producing them, is providing us.
Julie?
I believe the city is making headway on the money, good for the city, but what about the farms, the communities, the houses that are around the data center? There's noise, a humming noise that comes from the data center and is continuous 24/7. I've heard it even vibrates the house, it vibrates the windows, it disrupts your sleep. It's not a good situation at that point. Don't feel like there's gonna be a good turnout out of this at all.
And Joe?
The decision to proceed with the data center was a big one for the council. And it's been in the works in one way or another since 2019, when conversations first started. In the state of Wisconsin right now, I believe there are 40 data centers. And other cities are begging to get it because of the economic impact. The issues that surface with the data center on the energy, the water, and those other background issues really have been addressed as well as could be addressed. There's an insurance policy in concept with the data center in the sense that they've acquired land far exceeding their needs, and they're giving some of that land back. They're creating buffer zones, and they're doing everything they can to protect that environment. My conclusion is that I'm optimistic that Beaver Dam will be far better off from a tax point of view, from an economic point of view in 10 years.
Thank you. We'll move on to the school board race. We'll start with Maria Mason and work our way down the row. First question is, what would you do with the old middle school building after it's vacated?
So my mother's 83 years old. We have had issues finding her homes. Oh, is that better? Do I start? No. Okay, perfect. So my mom's 83 years old, and it is really tough to find apartments that she can go and live in because everybody wants to be in Beaver Dam. And so she's currently living with us, and I love that, but she wants her own space, and I think we should build homes for the elderly there. Thank you.
At this point, the Beaver Dam Middle School is still obviously being used by our students. And until such time that they are able to go to their new building, as a district, we can entertain conversations with a variety of partners across the community and with the current builders that we have who may know of others who have interest. The way that we handle these things through the district is we look for proposals, and we would put items out there to be able to have the building purchased by someone else. There are typically guidelines that are in place to determine that purchase being something that is going to benefit the community, et cetera. And we work with our district leadership, meaning that collectively the 9 of us have one employee in the superintendent to be able to have conversations with people across the community about the use and future use of the building itself.
Well said. Thank you. I would like to echo what Lisa shared. It wouldn't really be up to an individual school board member or the school board what to do with a past facility that has been used. But I would say that I have quite a bit of experience in such things, having served as the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater president for 2 terms recently. And moving from our old building to a new facility was a renovated school. So I do love the idea of innovating ideas for other community use for these spaces. I don't know that housing for the, although I definitely agree with Maria that housing for the elderly and for people with lower income is a desperate need in our community. I'm not sure whether the middle school would be an appropriate accessible building. I also moved our shelter for PAVE to a 52,000 square foot renovated factory, and that was really happy to repurpose that space. So when we can, I would like to see it repurposed, but that is not a decision for a school board member.
Thank you. Once our middle school reached a point where it was no longer fiscally responsible to keep pouring money in that building and to try to keep going, and we made the decision as a board with the support of the community to ask the community to support a new middle school, we knew that we were committed as a board to not causing more blight in Beaver Dam, and we really wanted to do our best to make sure that this building is, this site is somehow used in the future. I am a huge proponent of infilling in the community and not sprawling. Besides you think of the building of the middle school, you have to realize that there's that section next to the library also that's hopefully going to be a useful thing for somebody that somebody will see potential in. So it's really up to the community. Hopefully they're supporting, they have a plan, because there's a couple of blocks around there that could use a little lipstick too. So hopefully it will just be part of a program to make our downtown more beautiful. But as these other folks mentioned, and I probably don't need to repeat, that is not a decision for the school board, but my office is about our family office is about 3 doors away, and I definitely don't want to see blight in our downtown.
Well, whatever we end up doing with it, I'd like it to be a transparent process. And that if it's going to go out to bids, okay, so be it. What's going to be best for this community? What are our current needs? And balancing that with how is it going to be profitable, whatever venture comes into it. But it should be serving this community in some way, some capacity. And I think it would be great to survey the citizens to see what they think.
Thank you. We'll move on now to Dodge County Board. We'll start with Steve and then move on to Kevin. The first question is, are you in favor of the current approach to fixing roads? If not, how would you do things differently?
Definitely not. Things are changing now with a different highway commissioner. But this whole data center project is beating the daylights out of our roads, and that cost is gonna come back onto the county and onto the city for those roads. And for me, if I'm put on the highway commission, there are other communities around this state that they look at their road projects completely different. Like I did some numbers on it. We're paying about $595,000 a mile for resurfacing, and where are we looking for that to be cost savings? You know, the patching. I asked some questions about the patching, and I couldn't get a clear answer on how much we're paying for patch material. So just having somebody that is in charge of that whole process that's itemizing our expenses and we have control over it. That to me is a big change.
Thanks. The city or the county has 550 miles of roads, and right now we're doing about 25 miles of roads a year. That puts on a rotation of about 25 years to get all the roads done until we start over again. we were looking at different things for that, such as maybe making it a little bit longer, but making it so that the roads last a little bit longer by using concrete instead of asphalt for some of the roads. I know that there was a study done a while back on the difference between asphalt and concrete and how long they last. And years ago, or a few years ago, when the price of fuel was low, the cost to do an asphalt road wasn't that much. But as the cost of fuel has gone up, the roads have gotten a lot more expensive to blacktop. So I think one of the things that we can do is use more concrete instead of asphalt.
Thank you. We'll move back to the mayoral races. We'll this time start with Roberta Mark and move on to Al Paczynski. The question is, what would you do to improve the housing market in Beaver Dam?
Like every community across the country, there is currently a housing shortage. It's not just in Beaver Dam or in the Midwest, it's all over the country. And all the city can do is what we continue to do, which is we explore and we encourage development. We look at places that could potentially be housing, and we court developers who are interested in partnering with the city. Getting housing developers into a project is fairly complicated and involves a lot of pulling together of resources to make sure that any equity gaps can be filled, because it's really expensive to build these projects. And so the city is constantly working with developers and bankers and city staff to try and fill those equity gaps and hopefully bring in some new development.
Housing in Beaver Dam. Our population's dropped 500 in the last 5 years. We've had several subdivisions developed or in the process of developing, one over along the lake, one on the northeast side of Beaver Dam. They've both had help from our city government. I believe one of them hasn't paid 1 penny's property tax yet. I've also heard a rumor that I won't discuss about that one. And I believe in the past, the developer was getting subsidized by the city so he could reduce the price of the houses he had and try to sell them. Also, there's some more land that's become available that a developer has bought, and that's the old Raceway property, recently sold for $8.1 or $8.2 million. That there won't be available for subdivision until his lease is up with the data center.
Move on to the Common Council races. We'll start this time with Joe Bonnet and work our way down the row. The question again is, what would you do to improve the housing market in Beaver Dam?
That question is one that the city council talks about repeatedly. And we believe that there's been a fair amount of progress made in doing that if you look around and see it. One of our disappointments is that, there seems to be a lot of apartment rentals versus single-family homes. And then the price of the homes are escalating substantially. But I can tell everyone here that the council talks about this in any of our strategic issues as it being our number one priority.
Julie?
I guess more, every housing development that we offer, to have some more low-income housing to house elderly and low-income individuals in our community, providing some gateways for home ownership for young people in our community. Expanding some of our limits of the city property, to selling more properties to developments to do townhomes, affordable housing.
Paul?
You know, that's a really good question. Quite honestly, the incumbents have a significant advantage to addressing this question because they do have probably statistics. They know what the city has in progress, what they're planning, what resources they have available. Truth be told, I am a property owner, I am a landlord, and I charge my tenants between $800 and $1,000 a month for rent because I am not price gouging. I'm just trying to cover my costs of those locations. You know, these new developments that are coming to town that are $1,800, $2,200 a month, I don't know many people in this room, in this community, that can afford that. And although they look great on the outside and they probably look great on the inside, our community cannot afford that price point. And so instead of giving tax breaks to these data centers, give some money to developers that will work on keeping prices of rentals low, as well as households for that matter.
So I'll start by thanking our staff, our city administrators, current and former, the Beaver Dam Area Development Corporation as well. They are working every day to bring in new housing developments, and the city is supporting them in multiple ways. We are looking, if there's a contaminated site, we go to the state and we see if we can secure DNR funding to clean up a contaminated site. That's what happened at Ryan Contafio Way. We got state money to clean up a contaminated site, get it clean, get houses there. Take a look at what we did by Walmart. That was city property. That was part of an incentive to get new apartments out by Walmart. We closed, rather than closing a TID block early, we kept it open for another year so that we could use that money to fund affordable housing. We are doing everything we can, and you guys have seen it in the last 5 years or so. You have seen new housing units, new apartments, new single-family houses. The hospitals, the old hospitals finally getting developed, right? We are doing so much, so like everywhere, and you know we need to keep doing more. But I'm so happy with our staff and all the opportunities we've had. Thank you.
We'll move on to the Beaver Dam School Board race. The question, I'll start with Steve Rajeski and work our way down the row. The question is, what's a better way forward to fund K through 12 schools in Wisconsin?
A better way to fund schools. I like the school choice program. I like, I'd like to get rid of property taxes in general. I like the system of school choice. I like the fact of having parents have more money in their pockets and us being more frugal as a government and spending less on brand new fancy buildings and more on pencil and paper and paying the teachers. I'm a big fan of parents being involved, and I think if they have more money in their pocket, I think the way the tax system is going right now, it's unsustainable. So we're going to have to go back to things like the communities are doing in Randolph, where the Christian schools are funding themselves, and I think that's growing, and I think it's going to be a competitor even more so in days to come because of things going on in our school system. So I think school choice is a big in reducing our taxes.
I'm not a fan of school choice. School choice takes money out of the pocket of your local school district. So your tax money is going into a private education where they are not obligated to educate all students. They educate the students that they choose. So this school district takes care of the most expensive kids to continue to educate, which are special needs kids. And we take all kids. We don't ask, you don't have to apply, we don't reject you. You come into our district and we educate you. And that's what the idea of public education is. And we need to protect our public education. I am all for Christian education, but if you choose Christian education, it is your choice as a parent. And you will need to find a way through scholarship or through financing to fund it. That's the way it always was. I believe I've heard there's people at the private schools that liked it that way also. And our obligation is to all students and not just the ones that you would choose to have at your school. And I am passionate about that, and I believe that we're doing a great job in Beaver Dam. But any money that goes to school choice is your taxpayer money going to a private education.
I would say that I also disagree that it will put more money in parents' pockets to decrease property taxes. Property taxes are something that every constituent, every property owner contributes to throughout their lifetime if they are a property owner, including retired people, people on limited income. And so it is, I think, a very successful system to have property tax be part of the contribution, a huge part of the contribution of public education. I would agree with Joanne that if a family wants to apply and Christian education or private education, such as Wayland, is the priority of the family and the student, they can work with the community, the school, their church, to look at funding options. That is something that I, as a parent, have participated in myself. But I paid property taxes while also paying for private education. So I think that it's really dangerous to start assigning parents a financial connection to educating their children, because children will not have equal opportunity to their education.
I believe the public education funding problem is twofold. Number one, the state itself is currently not holding up its obligation to provide 2/3 funding to the districts across the state. The state is holding on to a surplus, and they are not providing that money to the districts that are in need. They are providing significantly less than their 2/3 funding. In addition, our property taxes themselves have been, I believe, erroneously, I guess, beaten up when it comes to the general public talking about property tax items. Because the state is not providing the funding, the local community has to be able to provide the balance of that funding. And then we are being pulled in other directions because of school choice, where our public tax dollars are going to the private education in the community. And that is creating that burden.
One thing I would like to see is more parents being involved in their children's education. As a minority, I've seen what the public school system has given our children, and I've also seen what private schools have given. Here's my thing, it's up to the parent. I would like for the state to give us more funding in general, but that's where I stand. It's up to the parents, and we need more funding. Thank you.
All right, in an effort to keep on schedule tonight, we're going to move on to the next part of the program, and that is where the candidates get to ask questions of their opponents. I'll hand it over to Kevin.
We'll start again with the mayoral races, and we'll start with Al Pachinski.
How much money has the city got tied up in the data center right now?
And before we go on, you'll have 1 minute to respond. You'll have 30 minutes to 30 seconds to respond.
I can't talk that much.
The developers agreement that the city has with the Meta Corporation is an extremely sound, financially positive document for the city. This business deal requires almost zero risk on the part of the city. It's structured using TID dollars, and I know people have a difficult time understanding TID because it's not a simple system, but it's a system that the state created to allow cities to have economic development. That's its purpose. And so it is not true that Meta is not paying property taxes. Meta has been paying property taxes since they took possession of the property. That's how all of our property taxes work. The difference is those property taxes are going into a TID fund, not into the general fund, and are being used for TID expenses, which can include, and in this case do include, incentives to Meta for coming to Beaver Dam. However, the way they are structured is a system known as PAYGO, which means Meta paid for all of their infrastructure upfront. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars of sewer and water and stormwater systems that the city would normally have had to put in, and instead Meta paid for it, and then eventually, if they hit certain benchmarks, the city will reimburse them.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's the incentive that the city paid. We will get way more than that back in property taxes.
Thank you. Al, rebuttal?
Thank you for not saying an amount on that.
At this time, we'll start with Roberta Mark asking a question of Al Paczynski.
So what in your background prepares you to be mayor?
Being a homeowner, economics, one income in a household, paying everything. If you can't make ends meet, I can't make ends meet. If I can do it, you can do it.
Would you care to rebut? Okay. Thank you very much. Kevin?
We'll move on to Aldermanic District Race number 12. We'll start with Zach Zopp asking a question of Paul Tolmer.
Paul, I have a copy of your nomination papers here, and you list your primary residence as N8310 State Road 33 in the township of Beaver Dam, across the street from the Beaver Dam Golf Club. My question to you is, what is your new primary address in District 12?
I guess so.
And when did you relocate to that address?
Didn't really go over, did we?
That's a very fair question. I do live at 110 and a half Front Street. That is a property that I purchased actually a couple of years ago. I own many properties in the downtown area, primarily commercial. However, there is a loft that I have been working on for a number of years. And quite honestly, the data center project and the lack of transparency of this current common council basically pushed me to finish that project sooner than I maybe had anticipated. You are correct, I do own the residence that you referenced. It's public record, not hiding it. I also own a property up north that I live at as well from time to time. But I submitted the paperwork on time to confirm that my residence is 110 and a half Front Street. And if you'd like to continue following me, taking pictures of my houses, my car, that is your right. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go to.
I think Zach has a chance to
Sorry.
rebut.
So you're telling the residents that you moved out of your $500,000 3-acre estate? I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that you moved out of your $500,000 3-acre estate across the street from the country club. And what you're telling people is, oh boy, I own all these properties. I'll just pick where I live today. I mean, you think people believe that? Anyway, you can make up your own minds. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go to Paul Toner asking a question of Zach Zopp.
Zach, how much water will these energy hogs actually use? And how do we plan on monitoring the contaminants that may show up in the wells of the communities around this project?
Thank you for asking that, Paul. This is a common question that we get. So Meta is committed to using a closed-loop recirculatory system. So the city will supply them with a one-time supply of, I think, 500,000 gallons or so that will last them for 10 years. That same 500,000 gallons will cycle throughout the facility for 10 years, right? So the only water leaving the facility is for daily use. So people washing their hands and flushing toilets, that's all that's leaving the facility. That will go to our Beaver Dam municipal waste treatment system. So there is, the only pollution that we have is human-made, and that gets cleaned up and released. So there is no credible threat of water pollution generated from the Meta facility. Thank you.
Rebuttal?
The city continues to put out information that shows that these data centers are expected to use 6,000 gallons of water per day, per unit, technically. I wanted to let you know that I have done some research, some numbers, and just wanted to put this out for record that the 6,000 gallons of water a day that the city says is the average use of a single restaurant is incorrect. I did some tally, and actually there are 7 restaurants in Beaver Dam that if you add up their daily water usage, it comes out to 12,038 gallons of water, not the 42,000 gallons that the city would be, I guess, presenting to the community. So
Thank
they
you.
use far more.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to Aldermanic District Number 8. We'll start with Julie Went asking a question of Joe Burnett.
Were the people that lived near the data center aware of what was going on?
I really can't speak for them. I can just give you the background that I know. And about 3 years ago or so, all of the homeowners where Meta is going were approached by Alliant Energy about selling their property. Every one of those people signed an agreement at about $20,000 an acre to sell their property. They didn't know who they were selling it to, just like when the city in the beginning didn't know what was happening there. But that's basically all I know about that background, and that they sold that it was purchased and sold in good faith. The city annexed it to the city, and so that's where we are today.
If you have a rebuttal? We'll move on to Joe Burnett asking a question of Julie Went.
Well, I would just like to ask Julie what she would consider to be the high priorities for the city going forward if she's elected.
The data center. We have one. I would stick with one and see how that works. I don't think we should add another one. Affordable housing. And then as the school board question about the middle school, is the city would acquire that property and turn it into either housing, but restore the gym for a community gym, since we don't have a community gym.
Rebuttal.
No, I don't have a rebuttal. Thank you.
We'll move on to Beaver Dam's school board race. We'll start with Maria Mason and work our way down. We just ask that if any of the candidates do have a question for one of their other candidates in the race, they direct that question to one individual only. Again, we'll start with Maria Mason.
Emily, I've been told that you're part of the PAVE program. Mm-hmm. If you're elected, what will you bring for these children?
I think your question, Maria, is as someone who works at PAVE and represents that program, what will I bring to, when you say these children, are you referring to the children that are serviced by PAVE or by the Unified School District?
The Unified School District.
Sure.
Because of your background.
Okay. Thank you for your question. Take a minute to think. My employment at PAVE, I do interact with children on a regular basis who experience housing insecurity. They are considered homeless. They are sometimes provided services and transportation by their home district, even though they're staying at PAVE. That is their district's obligation to provide their education and their transportation. It's not really any different than my representation of the hundreds of kids who hang out at my house, or who I support at school or at the theater or in the music department. I would represent them the same way that I would represent my own children and the other kiddos in the community.
Any rebuttal, Maria, or no?
No, I think it's awesome.
We'll move on to Lisa Panzer.
My question is for Steve. Steve, what do you think is the most important item that is facing the Beaver Dam School District at this time?
Well, the education standards, the results that we're getting with our students, I think that's the highest priority. Getting kids out the door with an excellent education. And the DPI had to lower the standards last year to make them more obscure, so you really can't look at DPI's structures. I looked at the iReady scores, even in Jefferson School, and they're not meeting the standards. They're low. And you've been on the teaching and learning committee, and there's some things that are being done that are just embarrassing. And the trend has been really bad. It's been really bad. And the property taxes are going up, and the results are still bad. There's a lot of things that we could do better, but the output of the students having a good, firm foundation on practical skills, that is the number one objective.
A rebuttal?
Public education is obviously a top priority in every community, and being part of teaching and learning is one of the situations where we govern policy for our district. We do not dictate the education of the individual student. Each student and their family has to be personally responsible to take advantage of everything that's being offered within our school district. And we provide those items with an educational background, with exceptional teachers, staff, and community members supporting the students in our community.
Move on to Emily Shire.
I have a question for Joanne Tyjeski. What do you think in your 18 years of school board service are the qualities or traits that are most important to someone serving on the Board of Education?
Well, let me start by saying what we don't do. We don't hire football coaches. We don't go after teachers that somebody is unhappy with. We are really focused as a Board of Education on policy governance. So our two main jobs are we set policy, which dictates the direction of the district, and we hire the superintendent. And then we hold the superintendent accountable for running our district. We do not meddle and we do not micromanage, and I think that is why Beaver Dam is so successful. We work always toward excellence. We have not achieved it. It is always our goal. And the other part of a board member is you are one of 9. This board has been fantastic about there is no grandstanding and there is no personal agendas. We work it as a team to ensure that all children of the Beaver Dam School District get the highest quality education possible. And is there room, according to, with Steve? Yep, there's room to grow. And if you can't just look at our numbers, look at everybody's numbers. We are right in there. We're doing a great job here, but we only intend to get better.
Rebuttal? Okay. We'll move on to Joanne Tyjeski.
I have no questions.
We'll move on to Steve Rajeski.
Okay, I have a question for Lisa then on the governing policy. So right now, I think, how can I say this? The policy is not to discriminate against kids and not to isolate them and to give them recognition and to make them feel welcome. And yet there are flags being flown, political flags, personal sexual preference flags being flown in the school district, in the classrooms, in front of young kids. And the policy is allowing that. I brought that to the school board meeting probably a year and a half ago. So explain how it is that you allow these policies for some people and not others, and bringing their personal beliefs into their classroom where they should not be.
Our schools are governed by policy, and if there is something specific that is either offensive or considered illegal to someone that is within that classroom setting, then that student or their parent would end up taking that up with the teacher themselves. And then if they did not get the result there, they would go to the principal of that building. And once again, if they did not get the result there, they would go to the superintendent. So as a board, we once again govern by policy, and the protocol for addressing the issue that you bring up is to attempt with the classroom teacher first and go all the way to the superintendent. And if they felt they did not get resolution there, then it would be a board matter at that point.
Rebuttal?
Yeah, well, it's been brought up, and so why hasn't it been dealt with? I guess that's my point. And yeah, so that would be my major point on that.
Move on to the county board supervisor race. We'll start with Steve Rajewski asking a question of Kevin Burnett.
Okay, as part of the land use committee, you had a very vocal group of people from the town of Trenton show up at the county board saying they didn't want their land rezoned for this data center project, and they were snubbed. And how can they count on you as their representative? They were not listened to. So, speak to that a little bit.
Sure, thanks, Steve, for the question. The county didn't do the zoning on that property. All we did at the county was annex it to the city. So the zoning is done with the city after it's annexed. It's not done by the county.
The city did the annexing. You
The
guys
city-
did the zoning.
No, we don't do the zoning for the city of Beaver Dam. There's a lot of communities around the county that we do zoning for. There are some cities, not very many, but for all the townships, we do all the zoning for most of them. But the county, all we did was approve the area to become part of Beaver Dam.
So you're saying that the county had nothing to do with the zoning?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Can I?
You have your time to rebuttal.
Yeah, well, I disagree. That was brought before the county board. We had this discussion last weekend. So it was annexed into the city. And there was a big group of people from the town of Trenton that showed up to show their dismay about that whole process.
We'll now move on to Kevin Burnett asking a question of Steve Rajewski.
Thanks. The Henry Dodge building is in pretty bad shape. One set of elevators there have been closed completely, probably forever. The plumbing is failing, such as springing leaks inside the walls. The whole building is inefficient. Do you have any thoughts on what the county should do to address this problem?
Yeah, I do. Certainly not to build a whole new campus. That is not the high priority of our community, spending $200 million and driving us further into debt on building a whole new campus for the county. The taxpayers are already burdened. The county took a 10% increase on my property taxes on top of the 16.9% increase this year because of the school board. So, yeah, I think we need to rethink keeping that building. It's just like the middle school. That building isn't getting torn down. You're talking about tearing down the Henry Dodge building because of some plumbing issues and HVAC issues. Yeah, somebody's going to repurpose that building. Tearing it down is not the right thing to do, and building a whole new campus is not the right thing to do. That building is made it's made out of brick, and it'll be there long after you and I are gone.
Rebuttal?
There currently is a space study going on with all of the buildings, county-owned buildings, including the highway shop and all the satellites. So we are looking at the needs of the county, what we actually really need, and what we should build. This building is so old. They have to when they get a hole in one of the pipes, they got to knock out the brick walls, and they just run the pipes around it. It's in terrible shape, and I believe that we need a new one. We'll see what the space study will show, or if there's any other buildings that we could use for repurposing of the Henry Dodge building. But the Henry Dodge building is so inefficient that it needs to be bulldozed.
Thank you, candidates. At this time, if there are any questions from our audience of any of our candidates, we can take that.
Thank you. This is for the school board members. I work part-time in Watertown. At one point last year, they had 6 school board members in 6 months resign. Surrounding districts, they can't pass referendum. They have failed operating referendums. Some are may have to merge. So what has been the strength of our district that has led us to be in probably the best situation financially out of probably any other district, I'd say, in the county?
How do we do this? Yeah.
Do we want to start?
Yeah,
Okay, we'll just go back.
sure. Well, every year you have to have your $5 million, whatever gets approved for the operating expenses. The state legislature a couple of years ago passed a state law that our real property values have to be reassessed every year. I think it's state statute 70.34, so they've been able to increase our property taxes. I took a 16.9% increase in the amount that the school district gets from me this year. I think there's some good things. I think Mr. Cashman, he did a good solid report this year. There were no big holes in it, but we're spending too much money. We're borrowing more than we should. I was a big, I would say, opponent to where the middle school was going. I think it's going to cost parents, yada yada. But to get back to your question, I think there is some good money handling in this. I think the school board has a hand in that, but I didn't hear one of them. I've heard Joanne scoff at looking at the numbers in the school board meetings, but none of them have talked about their role in the budgets. So I think that would be really good.
I don't think I've ever scoffed in my life. However, it is not, the school board's job is to approve the budget. How that budget is spent, we oversee, but we don't line item it. It's what I said, we set policy, we hire the superintendent manages the business manager, they bring to us a budget that is a balanced budget, and we make sure that our budget's balanced. The challenges he mentioned with school funding, that's everywhere in the state, we're not unique. Everybody in the state gets reassessed on a regular basis. A lot of that's law. What we've done well in Beaver Dam is we've managed our money well because we've managed our facilities well. In my time on the board, we've consolidated districts, not because it was cheaper for us only, but it was for the best interest of students to get them in multiple section schools. And in that process, we've closed some elementary schools that has been a really financially responsible decision for our district, and it's done well for our students. Most recently, in the closure of Wilson School, we've also been able to contribute to the community by allowing that to become a child care center that they rent from the district, and it serves our community. If we manage our facilities responsibly, it helps us manage our budget, and it helps us to save the taxpayers in the long term because we are being good stewards of our resources.
Josh, I need to review your question. Sorry, Dr. Tajewski. Would you ask again? I'm not an incumbent, so I don't know if it's appropriate for me to respond.
Just what has been the strength that has led us to come out ahead from surrounding districts that have been struggling?
Okay. So what has been the strength in our district that has brought us ahead of what seems like a lot of other districts in the county that are struggling or threatening to shut down or have really stretched their budget too thin? Because I have not been serving on the school board, I can't speak to that. I have served on finance committees of organizations, nonprofit organizations, and for-profit organizations with multi-million-dollar budgets. And it is a team effort. It is a community effort. It is committee work that happens at a committee level, not at a school board meeting. And I think our school board, the current members here and some that are in this room, have done a very good job financially, being fiscally responsible for with my taxpayer money and that of my family. I will also say that that is not my top priority for public education. It is to keep our district at the top, not as the wealthiest.
To Joanne's point earlier, I think the biggest thing that we do as a board is to focus on balancing the budget, making sure that we do not exceed our budget when it comes to our expenses and that we can actually save money every year to continue to have a bit of cushion in the event that we do need to borrow for things such as referendums that pass from the community showing their support for our students in our school district. So when we do have to borrow money for the case of the past referendum, we are able to get a better interest rate when we are doing our borrowing. I think as well, when we do, Steve referred to $5 million, and I think what he's referring to is when we do cash flow borrowing every year, because the state itself provides us money only at certain times, and we need to be able to pay our bills year-round. So if the state is not giving us money until, let's say, October, but our budget starts in July, we do cash flow borrowing to bridge the gap and then pay that back immediately once we get refunded from the state.
Okay, so first and foremost, I think the school board is an excellent school board currently, not just because I'm in it. But we communicate and we try to be very transparent, but we also ask questions. And I would like for the community to come to the school meeting, and not to school meetings, to the meetings, so that you can ask those questions too. I know that there's policies that we need to follow, and I understand that. But if you want to understand more what we do, please come to these meetings. It's really important.
I would say we have time for maybe one non-school board question. Does anyone have one? The other Dr. Tajewski.
I don't know if that was legal or not. We're the same family. One of the questions that was asked was, what would be better in 10 years because of the data center? I don't know. I hope, that the people in on those conversations were looking out for our best interest. But ask me in 10 years. I think Joe said that Alliant coming in offered them 20,000 acres. So they sold to Alliant. Then Alliant sold to Meta? Is that how it went? I don't know. It seemed like I thought that the data center Meta would buy it and not buy it from Alliant. Was that like, like a bait and switch where like, oh, it's going to be for electrical or power or some Alliant and not the other side? It can be either for maybe Bobby or Joe, either one.
I can answer that.
Okay.
The process started before 2019. Alliant Energy and the state of Wisconsin, Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation had a program. They were looking for a site around the state that they could jointly develop to lure some large industrial business to Wisconsin. And so Alliant and the WEDC had land option agreements with these farmers so that if we ever got a tenant, a developer, someone who wanted to build on that land, that parcel had already, the state went ahead and did all of the environmental studies and the rainwater, stormwater. They did all of the necessary permitting ahead of time so that it's what's called a state certified site. So by 2019, it was a state certified site. It was on the open market. They were trying to lure some large industry. Then it wasn't until Meta came in 2024 that Meta made individual deals with each of these farmers because they were purchasing the land. Alliant and the state just created the industrial park, hoping to sell it to someone, and they sold it to Meta. Well, the farmers sold it to Meta. Does that make sense?
All right. We've come to the part of the program for closing comments, and we'll start with Kevin and work our way down.
Thanks. The Dodge County, is this on? Okay. The Dodge County Board is facing some of the most important decisions during the next term. Replacing the Henry Dodge building because it has become too costly to upgrade, and addressing our failing radio communication systems. They're not optional projects. They are essential investments. One impacts the efficiency of county services. The other directly impacts the public safety for every municipality in the county. Together, these projects are estimated to cost upwards of $60 million. All while we continue to maintain over 550 miles of roads that keep our communities connected. I will continue to work bringing responsible economic development to Dodge County while supporting and expanding agriculture and agriculture-related businesses, cornerstone of our local economy. But we also need to grow and diversify our industries to help ease the fiscal burden on the individual property owners. The decision ahead will not be easy, but with careful planning, fiscal responsibility, and a clear vision for growth, we can ensure Dodge County remains strong, safe, and prosperous for generations to come.
Steve Brzezinski.
So to answer your question, it was sold to Degas LLC. You can go on the GIS website and see that. Meta was not the name of the business it was sold to, the land. I care about this community. I've been showing up in ways that most people wouldn't and sticking my neck out for the last 5 years, starting with the school board meetings. I have a lot of experience teaching. I have been a substitute teacher, been on the front lines. I've done those things. I continue to do that. I won't do the things that are going to isolate and embarrass some of these less fortunate kids that we're doing right now in the schools. I will be very, very transparent in sharing information and drawing in the parents and drawing teachers and parents together. And working with the team, whoever that is. I've worked on teams my whole career. I've led teams, I've built teams, so I think I have a lot of experience and I really care, so.
Joanne Tajewski.
Thank you for sticking with this program all the way through. This is really important, and I value your time that you've invested in it tonight. I've enjoyed my 18 years of serving, and I hope to continue to serve. I believe that I've done a good job for the district. I care about all people. I really think that school board is a difficult job. You have to make hard decisions. We do everything from talk about curriculum to facilities to do we need a new snow blower on facilities, do we all curriculum is presented and goes through the board, and we have the difficult decisions of expelling kids and making hard facility decisions. I'm proud to serve with this board. It has been an honor, and I hope that you see that we are a highly functioning school board, and I hope that you're as proud of the Beaver Dam Unified School District as I am. Thank you.
Emily Shire.
Thank you. I was asked why I hadn't gotten involved in public office before, and I said I have no desire to do what some of you are doing in your role, especially when it becomes very political or partisan. And then I said to my friend, except for maybe school board, that's something that I would be really good at. I am known for being diplomatic, for being a good mediator, for listening, for hearing people. And I also am a teacher, not actively anymore, but I have a master's degree in education and have taught special education, adult education, and again, am a parent in our district. So I am committed. I am an active volunteer. You won't find anyone who shows up more than I do, and I will be at every school board meeting. Thank you.
Lisa Panzer.
Thank you to everyone who joined us this evening. It was a pleasure to see all the faces in the audience. I believe that public education is the most equalizing factor to provide success for our students. It takes the ability for any person to be able to go into a building to learn not only the reading, writing, and arithmetic, but to provide opportunities for skill development, trades, knowledge, and being able to adapt those students to being successful members of our community. I believe that in Beaver Dam, we are blessed and privileged to have exceptional educators, to have great staff members, to have great administrators, to be able to guide our students through and navigate until adulthood. And it has been my pleasure to serve on this board for the past 18 years, and I hope that the community continues to support the work that I'm doing.
Maria Mason.
During my time as a school board member, I have come to understand parents, teachers, community as a whole. We all have different backgrounds, different beliefs, yet our children is what brings us together. Thank you for your valuable time. Please vote Maria Mason, your blue-collar, everyday worker, you know? And I just want to say, I put the constitutional rights of your students first. Thank you.
Al Bolchinsky.
I entered this race because I wanted to see Beaver Dam get straightened out. We've gone how many years now? Further and further and further in debt. The last records I was able to interpret that I got from City Hall, we had 3 years in a row that we were paying over $1 million in interest on our debt. I think it's time to quit wasting that $1 million and utilize that for other things. The only way we can do it is reduce the deficit that we have. And one more note, I realize my last name is hard to spell. And if you people want a little slip of paper with the right spelling on it to carry with you to the polls, you can get one for me after this is over. Thank you.
Roberta Mark.
In the past 16 months as mayor, I have learned about the intricacies and challenges of running a city of over 16,000 busy beavers. I've seen how difficult decisions are made every day to balance the needs and resources of our community. Beaver Dam has experienced tremendous positive change in recent years, and it's important to keep the city moving in that direction. If re-elected, I will continue to focus on downtown redevelopment, increased housing, maintaining and improving our city infrastructure, and continued economic development. Strong leadership, responsible use of city resources, and careful, thoughtful planning will be needed to continue Beaver Dam's recent success. I can provide these things that will continue to move us forward. Vote for me on April 7th.
Zach Zob.
So I think everyone's seen how much I value true representation in our elected officials. And it's astonishing to me that District 12 again faces a potential for someone who owns a residency outside of the district to just switch their primary address last week and say they now represent District 12. I stand for the integrity of our elections. I stand for Wisconsin election laws. The residents of District 12 deserve a representative that lives and breathes the neighborhood with them every day. I've lived in District 12 for over a decade. I've stood up to landlords that don't even want to fix a broken window. I've helped 4th Street become a safer neighborhood, and I was the only alder person to canvass its district to learn what residents cared about when we were drafting the ATV ordinance. I'm running to continue to serve the residents of District 12 with true representation. I'd be honored to have your vote again on April 7th. Together we can keep building a stronger and more sustainable District 12 in the city of Beaver Dam. Thank you.
Paul Tollner.
I don't judge people by the exterior of their property, where they reside, nor the value of their homes. I started investing in downtown Beaver Dam, District 12, about 10 years ago. And by my choice, I chose to relocate there sooner than originally planned. True. I was on the Common Council 30 years ago, so this isn't new to me. What I'm advocating for is transparency from our city government and elected officials, becoming better stewards of taxpayer dollars. For sure, doing referendums when we start talking about $1 million benefits to potential businesses coming to town. Improving communications with the community. Reducing the size of the Common Council. Asking the tough questions. Beaver Dam has been good to me, and I intend on giving back as I have done throughout the years, whether it's youth baseball, United Way, other community functions. I will support District 12, despite what is being implied. In fact, I'm not doing this for the money. In fact, I didn't know until this week what the position paid. I don't even know if the community knows what these alderpersons are paid. But I have no intent on keeping the paycheck. I intend on donating it back to area not-for-profits that help those in
Thank you,
in
Mr.
need.
Tollner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Julie Wendt.
I stand for one data center. If we wait another 2 years to watch and see how this will change our environment, our electric bills, our water in the area. Currently, my electric bill has risen. We have 2 people in my household. My electric bill is like $327 for February. That's quite a bit for just 2 people. I will continue to go door to door and talk to the people in my neighborhood, sitting in their living rooms and hearing their complaints and their concerns about what's going on in our city. Thank you.
And Joe Burnett.
When I joined the city council 4 years ago, I really didn't know what to expect. And I didn't know if it was a political body, if there were Democrats and Republicans. I didn't know any of that. And in the 4 years that I've been there, I can honestly say that there has not been one issue that was political. I can say, though, that there were an awful lot of disagreements and differences of opinion sometimes heated amongst the members, but it was the issue. It wasn't politics. So that was a very important consideration for me. Personally, I'm an analytical person. I'm the type of person, if somebody presents something at a meeting, I want to challenge it, I want to understand it, and make my decision on that. And I think that's all we want on the council. The data center thing has been a big issue. We've listened to people complain about their taxes, and that they're too high, and we've heard it here tonight multiple times. The biggest project in the history of Beaver Dam is the data center. It will generate more money for the city to do what we have to do. We're going to be spending $30 million on a fire station, $30 million on a sanitation sewer system, all probably within 10 years. Where's that money going to come from? It's going to come by diverse investment as we're talking. So, and I'm not saying that it's not a big deal. It is a big deal.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Joe.
Proud
Thank
to
you,
be a
Mr.
part of
Menace.
that, and I wish Julie well and others well as well. So,
Very
thank
good.
you.
Thank you, everyone, on behalf of Good Karma Brands and the Chamber and Visitor Center. A democracy works only as well as the voters are informed, so I want to thank our candidates and our audience tonight for all doing their part. Thank you, everyone, and good night.